you've never heard of East Village Inky, you've probably never heard of zines. This has been around for quite a while. It's on issue 50-something. I've always, through the years, just randomly picked it up, an issue here, an issue there. Anne writes about her life, her kids, her family, her travels, going to Zine Fest. It's all handwritten. It's all cool little stories. She has a very funny sense of humor, a good outlook on life. She does these little drawings. Issue 50 she mailed to me because she talks about when she and I met. I had never met her or corresponded with her. That's roughly what she looks like right there when that's her being a dork. I had never written with her, corresponded, or met her. I've just always read her zines. But in March at Chicago Zine Fest, I got to meet her, and she did that drawing of me, which I think is really funny. I'm going to put the address up. If you've never read it, you should read it. You probably will like it. It's a well-done zine. She has her format down, and she does it all the time. Yay, Anne. Marked for Life. I got these a long time ago. These are by Sage, who runs Sweet Candy Distro. I just haven't reviewed them, but I read them a long time ago. This is issue number 6. This was a 24-hour zine challenge. She writes about her family. She writes about anxiety. She writes about her mom and dad. It's mostly writing with a few photos. A picture of her and her mom. If you like reading about family stuff, you would like this. I liked it so. I didn't like it 100%. I mean, I liked it. 24-hour zine challenges are tough. Everything feels like a little bit rushed. For a 24-hour zine challenge, that's pretty good actually, though. Issue number 7, I liked a lot. I give this like an A-. I give this like an A+. This is a travel issue. It's quarter size, coast to coast. She talks about her and her husband and her kids packing it up. I think they lived in Georgia, somewhere out east. They moved to Olympia, Washington. So this is stories about being tourists. This is stories about stopping at random places. It's stories about kids that don't want to be cooped up in a car for freaking however many 50 hours or whatever you have to drive. It's got stories about stopping in a haunted cave. Stories about the Pony Express, stopping at I think Johnny Cash's gravesite. I like this one a lot. Check it out. The next zine I'm going to review I actually don't have. What is it called? I forgot even what it was called. I got it from Josh from Ms. Valley Park. Growing Things. It's called Growing Things. I'll put a picture of it up. He sent me Growing Things and it was like, hey, I don't know if this is any good to you, being that you live in New Mexico, but I thought I'd send it to you. It's a whole zine about gardening, growing plants, growing vegetables, making your own compost, but it's targeted towards Pacific Northwest where they get a lot of rain. So for me, it didn't really do any good for me, and I'm not super into gardening anyway, but for what it was, it's a really good zine. And the reason I don't have it is I happen to be traveling through Seattle, and I gave it to a friend of mine because in Seattle, like, everybody has gardens because they're all cool up there like that. And so I gave it to her, and she was like super stoked to get it. So if you're into gardening, if you're into plants, check it out. Specifically, if you live in the West Coast or Pacific Northwest or anywhere where it rains a lot of really good helpful tips. My one complaint, Josh, why is everything like the font of the whole zine is like in a script font? Don't do that. For the introduction, it was fine. It looks handwritten, but the whole zine was script font, and it drove me crazy. Other than that, there's lots of contributions from different gardeners, different friends of his, different people, and a lot of very, very helpful information. So if you're into gardening, check it out. Ms. Valerie Park Distro. Sub Rosa, number 7. I got this. I met Taryn. I've heard of her, and I've heard of her zine. I've never actually read it, but I met her at the Portland Zine Fest this past summer and picked this up. I think I'm going to call this 1/8 legal size. It's smaller than quarter size, but bigger than eighth size. So I think it's 1/8 legal size. I love the format. I love the layout. It's very simple, just words. This is the sobriety issue. So it's all about these fucked up stories of her getting drunk, blacking out, basically ruining her life through alcoholism, which is like really sad, but really like you just want to read more of it. Very intriguing. And then finally, like, kind of getting her act together, getting herself fixed up. And this, I think, marks like her at the end. It has her saying that she's 2 years sober, which is like super cool. it's an inspiring story, particularly if you know anyone that has had, you know, addiction issues, or if you yourself have had addiction issues. Not really any pictures, mostly just words, a few journal entries, good, compelling writing. I enjoyed it. Moving on, Moral Fiber number 5, screen printed cover. My friend Chris in Minnesota does this. All drawings with weird quotes. I don't really get into comics. It's not my thing. But this I love because it's just like one weird drawing with like one weird saying. Like, you know, people say I have an amazing smile. No, I'm not lying. To me, that's great. It's just like all these weird drawings of weird people and weird random quotes. I have no idea what he charges for this. I would send like $4. I'll find his address and post it. It's great. It's great. I'm going to end with Miss Sequential number 4. I think I bought this in Portland. Apparently me and Marissa met at Chicago Zine Fest, or at least she was there. I don't know if we met, but she and I are now pen pals, which is appropriate because this zine is all about outgoing my life in mail. It's all about mail, which is like so cool. She talks about P.O. boxes that she's had. She talks about pen pals that she's had. She's talked about her very first, you know, the first time she ever got something in the mail. You know, she has all these cute little drawings as well. She talks about how to make envelopes. What else? She talks about her different mail carriers. She talks about the coolest things she's ever got in the mail. She talks about when I think she was at college and she worked in the mailroom. It's all about mail. It has cute little drawings. It's handwritten. It's like $4. Get it? It's good. And then you can be pen pals with Marissa. Thanks. Bye.